tonight we are going to attempt to make a ginormous bow, a big old bow on the large board. Now this bow can be used by itself on a door for decoration. It can be used as a tree topper, and I'll show you how you can just zip tie the whole thing on. It can be used at the end of a banister. I'm going to be using the large board tonight. Now you can do this, most definitely do this on the small board. I do have a tutorial already on with this done on the small board. It's with summer, it's got summer ribbons, but you literally can switch out whatever ribbons you want or whatever you have on hand. Okay, so I wanted to try even big. It's Christmas. We all go big at Christmas. I wanted to try a big one. So I am using, okay, this is my favorite ribbon in the whole wide world for Christmas. I love this ribbon. I don't even know if we have any more in stock. The number of this ribbon is RGE 154727. So I always get a whole bunch of it at the beginning of the season. So I think I got this in September. So I always take a couple rolls off the website for myself. They are bells, so they're white jingle bells. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, I think you can. White bells. It's got a red bow, it's got holly, and it's got gold glitter running through it. Just little pieces of like gold glitter. Like I said, this is my very favorite ribbon at Christmas time. I love this ribbon. So this is my main ribbon. Okay, so find yourself one of your very favorite ribbons and work off that ribbon. Okay, so this is a 2.5 inch. Okay, so I'm gonna pull some colors out of this ribbon, and I'm just going with simple colors, and I happen to have these already open. So I'm going to be using this emerald green fine glitter, another ribbon I absolutely love. This is RGE 178906. So you can see that green fine glitter. Now this glitter does not come off. Hi Margaret. Hi everybody. It doesn't come off. So this is a 1.5. So I'm going to use this. I also have this gorgeous leftover ribbon from one of my Christmas tree kits. It is a plaid. It's beautiful. Red and green plaid, 1.5. Okay, and now you guys can pair whatever ribbons you want. Then I also had this open. I used this the other day, and I love this ribbon. A velvet ribbon with a snowdrift and a ladder kind of weave going down the middle. It is a 2.5 inch. Like I said, I had this already opened. I used half of it for that ginormous swag I made the other day. So I'm going to be using the rest of it. So we're going to be using that. And then I had this red, it's fine glitter. I'm sorry, fine glitter. Okay, so you can see I've pulled out all the ribbons colors I'm using from the main ribbon that I absolutely love. You can use whatever you have. Okay, so those are the ribbons I'm going to be using in tonight's design. I'm also going to be using some horizontal wide stripe mesh. Now I had a roll of red open. I really love horizontal wide stripe for this project because it's very stiff. What we're basically doing is mimicking a big, huge bow. A bow that's not going to squish, okay? And to do that, you can use some mesh. Now, like I said, I have some red horizontal wide stripe. I do like horizontal wide stripe for the boning. I call it boning, for the boning inside my petal. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you in a sec, but there is mesh inside this ribbon. Okay, so when I put the ribbon in to make my loop, I'm going to open it up. Okay, I'm going to open it up and it's going to stay open. It won't squish because it's got a piece of mesh in the middle for the boning. Okay, so it's just a little trick I've come up with. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So all my loops that I'm going to be putting onto my board all have the boning. Okay, first I'm going to show you how I'm making these loops. So I cut a bunch of mesh, 10 inches. I think I had 3/4 of a roll here. You're going to take, you don't have to wood burn it or anything. This, if you have a stapler handy, this is really, the stapler is really helpful in this project, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 10-inch piece, turn it into a diamond shape, okay? Curl up. So when you let go, it's curl up. We're going to take that top corner. I'm going to bring it down to the bottom corner. Okay, nothing has to be perfect. This is for the inside of our ribbon. Now I'm going to make a piece, which is a little wider, for my 2.5-inch mesh, or ribbon. So this ribbon is 2.5-inch. So I'm going to take that bottom corner. I'm going to just flip it up right before this top ledge here. And then I'm going to flip it again and line it up. Once I've flipped it and lined it up, I'm going to take my stapler and I'm going to staple where it meets. You can see where it meets right there. So I'm going to put a staple there. I'm going to put a staple right there. And I'm going to put one in the center just to keep it closed. So staples, even if you get a stapler from the dollar store, it's okay. So that is the boning for the inner part of our 2.5-inch. And now for our 1.5-inch, oh, I folded them all. Hold on. I gotta get another piece of mesh. What do I have here? I'll just use a piece of this green. You don't see the mesh underneath the ribbon anyway, so I'll just take a piece of this green. We'll cut it at 10 inches. 10, 20. Don't waste. Use, when you're doing some boning, use your yuckiest mesh. We all have mesh that is too thin or we don't really like it. Don't use expensive mesh for this because you're not going to see it, okay? I usually use a value mesh when I'm doing boning, but I find horizontal wide stripe, because it's so stiff, it works really well. Do not use poly burlap or like a jute fabric mesh or anything for your boning, because you're not going to see it and it's a lot more pricier. Okay, so I'm going to do, this is for the 1.5. So I'm going to take the top corner, bring it to the bottom corner. I did staple it, Valletta. Okay, there we have a triangle. This is for the 1.5-inch boning. I'm going to bring my corner up, and that tip is going to go around, I don't know, just like that. No, hold on. Okay, yes. So we're going to bring it up just below this top ledge. Okay, this has got lots of foil in it, so it wants to curl up on itself. Then I'm going to flip it about halfway, and then I'm going to flip it again. And then I'm going to staple it. Say one end. Okay, so you're making this thin piece of mesh. Other end. And the middle. So this is a good project to do. Cut all your mesh at your craft table, and then you can use your a cutting mat to put it on your lap and cut it while you're watching TV. So this thin one is for my 1.5. The thicker one is for my 2.5. Okay? Now, for my loops, I'm going to be using this 2.5 inch ribbon. I'm going to cut it at 14 inches. Okay? Cut it at 14 inches. Like that. I'm going to take one of my 2.5 inch bonings that I got and a little 4 inch zip tie. Now, if you don't have little 4 inch zip ties, you can use little rubber bands. I just find the zip ties are great for a stopper, okay? So you're gonna put your 14 inch piece ribbon with the pattern face down, put your boning on, so pretty much center. I'm gonna hold it down and I'm gonna flip it over my hand and adjust it till it comes to the end, just like that. And make sure your mesh inside your ribbon is pretty taut, okay? Which mine is. It's like right against the ribbon. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch from the top, pinch from the bottom, and I'm going to take a little tiny 4 inch zip tie. Actually, I think these ones are 3 inch. And I'm just going to zip it right at the bottom. Okay? And that way when I go to use it, I'm going to open it up and that boning is going to keep that loop open. So we're going to cut that little zip tie tail off and then you're going to cut the rest of this mesh that's hanging out. Okay, so that is how you're going to do your 2.5 inch loops. Your 1.5 inch loops, we'll use this one. Again, you're going to do 14 inches. Okay, there's my 14 inch 1.5. Flip it over, the pattern's down. I'm going to take my thin, see if we do the 2.5 inch one, it's going to show. Okay, we don't want the mesh to show, so that's why we fold it even thinner for the 1.5 inch. So you're just going to put it on your ribbon again. You're going to flip your ribbon over, and then you're going to meet up the two ends of your ribbon. Just cut some of this strings off. Okay, make sure it's nice and your boning is nice and tight inside. And pinch from the top, pinch from the bottom to the center, and we're going to wrap another zip tie around. Okay, I'm going to cut off the excess mesh, cut off the little 4 inch zip tie, and we're going to open it up, and now our loop is going to stay open. Okay, so that is how I made the loops for our project. I'll have to do quite a few more, but that's just to get us started. Okay, so we're going to be using the large board. On the large board, we're going to be using a lot of zip ties. A lot of zip ties. So on row 2, we're not going to be using row 1. We're going to start on row 2. And if you would do the same on the small board. If you were doing the small board, you would start on row 2. You're going to do every single hole, including the shared holes, on row 2, on row 3, on row 4, and on row 5. Okay, so meaning you're going to take your zip tie, you're going to go down, even though there's a zip tie there, we're going to make a complete circle, and it will look like stitching. See how it looks like stitching all the way around? That you'll know if you missed a spot, because you won't have a zip tie there. So you're going to have all of row 2 shared holes and normal holes, all of row 3 shared holes and normal holes, all of row 4, and then we're going to do all of row 5, but I just did the 4 for right now. Okay, now I wanted to incorporate some of this red and white ladder ribbon. Like I said, it's a little more pricier. So the only part where I added it is on row 2, just as tails. So you're going to cut, how many did I say? We need 14 of these at 7 inches, okay? Or 7 at 14 inches and cut it in half. So I don't want to use this because that's my last one, but what you're going to do, say this is your 2.5, you're going to cut a 14 inch, okay? And then we're going to cut it in half. So if this was that red and white, cut it at 14 inches, fold it in half, just like that. So there's the 2 open ends. Then fold it lengthwise, and then we're just going to dovetail it. And that'll give us 2 pieces at 7 inches. Okay? So I have done every other one with these red and white at 7 inches. Then in between, I got the green at 7 inches. Okay? You're going to dovetail it. And what I'm going to do is you're going to bring the bottom, this where we didn't dovetail it, so there's a straight edge and a dovetailed edge. The straight edge is what's going to go into the zip tie, okay? So I'm going to just bring the 2 edges here in. And the reason I do that is it makes it flare out down at the end a little bit better. And I'm going to zip tie it in. So I'm doing every other one on row 2 with the red and white, and then every other one with the green. So row 2 is just tails, only tails. So you need 14 of the red and white at 7 inches and 15 of the green at 7 inches. So of course you can do whatever colors you want, but that's what it is. Okay, so right at the bottom, so right in the center, there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The numbers, this is the direct center of the board. Okay, right at the bottom of the center, so this is the center at the bottom, and these 2 edges. I've put a T, and a T. Why I did that and left these without the ribbon tails is because we're going to make long tails coming out the bottom of our bow, of our large bow, okay? So I'm going to leave these 3 blank. Like, I'm not going to put anything in it till the end. Okay? So if I flip this over, there's the Unique in the Creek logo. So this is the center. And these 3 right at the bottom on row 2, these 3 are loose. Okay? Just preload them and leave them. Okay? Because we're going to have long tails coming out like that. All right, so row 2, tails are done. And you don't even have to use different colors like I did. You can do all one color. Like literally you're building this bow piece by piece. So you can have fun with it. You can do whatever you want and all different colors. I was going to do a pastel one because that is so popular these days, but I knew I had to use my favorite ribbon here. So, okay, so that's row 2 done. Tails, 7-inch tails, 2 different color mesh. One is a 2.5 inch, one is a 1.5 inch. Now we're going to go to row 3, which looks complicated. We got lots of zip ties in there. It's not that hard at all. So what I did is I started with a loop. Now I showed you guys how to make a loop at the beginning of this. One of these. And then a 7-inch, just a tail. Just a 7-inch tail. Just like this, like we did the rest of them. A 7-inch tail. And this row, I'm doing all the same ribbon. So I'm using my favorite ribbon, okay? And what you do is you do a loop, then a tail. A loop. Now when you're putting your loop in, if you have a directional ribbon, I don't know if you can see this, but my ribbon, there's a bow at the top and then the bells and then the tails of the bow. You want to make sure if you're using directional that you put your loop in so that your bells are not upside down. Okay, so if I did it this way, there's the tail of the bow, or yeah, the bow for the bells. There's the tails. If I put it in this way, it's going to be upside down. Right? So I'm going to flip it this way so that the bells are all hanging right side up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your ribbon loop, put it into your zip tie, just a little past that little baby zip tie we put at the bottom, or you can use a rubber band. I like the zip tie because if I pull this, this is not coming out of the zip tie. Okay, it is locked in there because I have a stopper. Oh, I wanted to mention too, because we just have tails, you can put them in the zip tie, and if you feel like you feel like you want a little bit more secure, take your hot glue gun and just go right over each of the tails with a bead of glue. Go from the board over the ribbon and to the board. Okay? Board right over the ribbon to the board. And this will prevent, if anybody like grabs the ribbon tail by the end or like grabs one here, it's not going to come out because you glued the bottom of it to the board. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so we have a tail. Next we have the, we're going to put our loop in. Do that up. Okay, so if I pull this, it's not coming out because it's got the stopper. And I'll try and cut my zip ties as we're going so it's not so confusing to see. All right, the next one is just a 7-inch tail. Again, be aware if you're having, if you have directional ribbon, to make sure that, you know, if you're using Christmas trees, your Christmas trees are not upside down. Okay, zip in a tail. And you can just use old scissors for cutting off the zip ties if you want. I need a garbage bucket here. All right. Turn it this way, make sure my bells are not upside down. So I'm doing a loop. So row 3 is 12 loops. You're going to use 12 pieces of mesh, 12 loops, and 12 7-inch tails. This is row 3. Alrighty, row 4, again, I've done all the zip ties, so it looks like stitching, or the shared holes and the normal holes. And I think I'm going to go, we're going to start with the 1.5 inch in now in row 4. I think I'm going to put this in every other, let's see. So I'm just doing loops. I'm not going to be doing any tails on this row. So this is just a really pretty red and green. I think I'm going to go in every other with this one. And then in between the plaid, I'm going to do just a red shimmer glitter to break up. There we go. Oh, that's going to look good. Yeah, so plaid, red, that's what we'll do all the way around. And these are going to be the loops. We're going to do loops. Is row 4. Oh, look how pretty this is. Oh, gotta put some zip ties in. So I am going to go right over top of the single pieces of these fine glitter that I did. And then I'm gonna go preload the joining holes too. So let's see. I put this. I want to cover up the whole center of the here because we're going to put a single one, like a single loop in the center there. Okay, let's see if I put a 7-inch piece here. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that'll look good. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Ooh, don't want to use my ribbon scissors. Use the yucky scissors. So the normal holes on row 5 are where I'm going over with the loop. So we'll put these half pieces in. All right, last one. Well, for that, we're going to put a center one, but before we do that, now if you're going to like attach it to something, you can flip it over. You can use the holes here to attach it, or you can put like a large zip tie down the center or a pipe cleaner. Let's see, where's a pipe cleaner? So say you want to attach, you know, you attach it to your banister or whatever. Now this is a short pipe cleaner, well, normal pipe cleaner, but if you want to attach it to your banister or something, what you can do is attach 2 pipe cleaners and twist them together. Okay. And then you're going to take one end of the pipe cleaner and just move these out of the way, find the holes. There we go. There's one. other one is over here. Okay, pull that down. And now you have a big long pipe cleaner that you could attach it to your banister, or you can twist it around the top of your Christmas tree or wherever you want to put it. If you're going to hang it like as a wreath or add an you can use this as an attachment. You can attach it into anywhere of any of the holes. But I'm going to put a zip tie right at the top here for a hanger, because I'm going to hang it on my door to take a picture. All right. And now we're going to do the center. So I'm going to take another zip tie and go down and back up where I went with that pipe cleaner, the 2 holes there. And we're going to put a single little loop. I think I only need to do it about 10 inches. Yeah, let's try 10 inches. Let's see. I'm going to put boning in this center loop as well, just so it doesn't get squished down. And then we're going to put a big long tails on it, and it's going to look like a big old gorgeous bow. Again, you can do this on the small board as well if you don't want a bow as big as that. But look at isn't that cool? And then I'm going to bring up all the loops too. Okay. I am going to use my handy dandy stapler. I'm going to staple the mesh to the ribbon right at the end. Cut off the end of this mesh here. And we're going to go over, and then this, where the seam is where our zip tie is going to go. So let's staple. There's no stapling in wreathing. Yeah, there is. There we go. There's our single little loop that we're going to put in the center. Zip tie down the middle of it just to cinch it. It'll cinch easier. Like that. There we go. I'm just going to put one of those little zip ties. Perfect. Now I'm going to I have my zip tie open right in the center here. And I'm going to pull the zip tie. There we go. And cut it off in the center. All right, and now we're going to pull all these up forward. I'm going to start from the center. We're going to open up all these loops, bringing kind of to the center like that. And the next row, open up your loops, bring them forward. Tails. Oh gosh, this is pretty. All right, let's put our big long tails in. We left those 3 little zip ties right here to put our tails. What do you guys think so far? Pretty, right? Okay. So the first, I'm going to use whatever's left of this. Ooh, there's a lot. So how much is left? $26. I'm going to use it. Just cutting it in half. This is whatever's left on the roll. All right, so I'm going to flip this over where you guys can see. So remember these 3 zip ties? This is the very center one. I'm going to put this big long piece of the ladder ribbon on this side and this side. Dovetail this. So this end is going in one zip tie. I'll dovetail this one. Okay, I'm just going to lift these up. I'll show you. When you just lift it up, you can access the zip ties no problem. So I'm putting one on one side. That. This one on this side. I'm not closing the zip tie yet because I am going to put green. No, should I put plaid? Plaid. Alright guys, I don't think I need the red because there's enough red in here. I want some green. Okay. I'm going to put a long piece of the bell. It's about 32 inches. Some green in. I'm just going to use the rest of this. It's not very much. I'm going to cut it in half because I'm going to put half here, half here. Okay, that goes in. And then I'm going to put some of this beautiful plaid. I think I'm just going to put one piece. Yeah, one piece. So dovetail this in. This will go in the center. Oh yes, directional ribbon. Thank you, Melissa. You're absolutely right. We did all that work. We don't want our bells upside down. So we will cut it in half. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Okay, that one's right. This one will have to. I'm gonna put a little zip tie at the top. Yeah, there we go. There's one. I'm going to put a zip tie at the top of these too. That way, if they get pulled, there's a stopper. Okay, this side. That one's in. In. And then I'm going to do it up. Cut the zip tie tail. And there we go. Not coming out because I put a stopper. So that one. That one, we'll do it up. All right, and now we'll go in with this one right down the center. And of course, we're gonna roll these bad boys. And then where's my, let me just put a stopper. I'm just gonna put one single plaid one in the center, do that up. And now we got big old ribbon streamers. All right, let's roll these. It's big. This one, this is really thick. Do a loose curl. This one. And you can do your tails however you want. I don't even know what the length of these are. I'm just curling them all. This turned out so pretty. Doesn't it look like I used a ton of stuff? I really didn't, considering it's such a big bow. Look at that bad boy. And they're not gonna, the loopies are not gonna squish. So you can put this away for next year, put it in a box. And then when you bring it out. Now I did put the pipe cleaner on the back, so if you want to tie it to your banister, if you forget to put your pipe cleaner or whatever, what you can do is take a zip tie, just go through one of the zip ties here, get your pipe cleaner or whatever you're going to use. Let's see. I'm just going to give you guys an example because you might forget to put your, to put it on your Christmas tree or whatever. Just zip tie your pipe cleaner. Probably easier this way too. That way you can put pipe cleaners here and pipe cleaners down at the bottom right here if you want. To attach it to your tree, to attach it to your porch. You could put this on your column in front of your house. Just keep twisting some pipe cleaners together or big long zip ties. Okay, or if you're just going to use it as a wreath, just put a hanger and you have a big old bow wreath. What do you guys think of that one? Yeah, you can use the small board too, but I already did the small board, so there is one on the YouTube channel with the small board. It's a summer ribbons. Again, just change out your ribbons to whatever you have. But I do love this big bow. I really, really like how it turned out. The board's not showing. We got loops that are poofed up, and you're not going to have to keep fluffing. They'll stay like that once you stop touching it, because we have that boning in there, so it's not going anywhere. Look at that. Now that's a bow. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and I hope you liked it. Bye, everybody.